Welcome back to another video. We're going to be working on an AirStream this week. A friend of mine just bought this AirStream during the kind of like everyone's buying AirStreams and campers pandemic, and they've been working on it, but they're at the point where they've got the bed made. I've already covered it up, but we have to put an entire electrical system in it because this thing's old. She already ripped out. There used to be a dinette couch thing here. It's ripped out. This is all old electric that we got to fix. Old electric we gotta fix. Old electric that we're gonna fix. So I think we're gonna be building couches, installing components, putting some solar panels on the roof, and hopefully keeping this dog from just, not wanting to play all the time. Why do you want to play all the time? Actually, I'm glad you like to play all the time. If I haven't introduced you to my new dog, this is Oakley. She doesn't like when I work, or film, or cameras, or cell phones. Hello. Okay, yeah. I'm gonna go back to electrical. I've gotten everything gutted out. We're back to that stage where everything just looks like a mess of wires. But everything's cut. I now have this pile of old scrap parts from an AirStream / some new parts that someone definitely put in because they just weren't made in the 60s. Puppy, still sleeping. She's doing great. I'm gonna start going through and continuity testing all of the different wires because nothing was labeled. None of the breakers, none of the fuses, none of the breaker panels, nothing. So I have absolutely no clue what anything really does. It wasn't able to be run when I first got the rig, so I couldn't even plug it in and test to see if things worked. So I have a feeling we're doing a bit of a rewire here, mostly because I'm finding things like that in the cabinet, and that's not a proper junction. No. So we're gonna probably be doing a bit of troubleshooting, wiring, figuring it out, labeling, and then once we get everything labeled, then I can kind of get a plan of how this thing's gonna go back together, because I just gotta find out where all the leads are, and that's gonna tell me a bit of where the panel's gonna go, then where the batteries are gonna go, and at some point I need to figure out what we're building right here, because there's nothing there right now. Alright, we want the beep. Oh, found number 2. We got the bus. I'm still stuck on buses. We're in an AirStream. We got the AirStream gutted out. I've got 90% of the wires labeled. 3 of them I cannot figure out what they are. Who knows? Maybe it's just something that's not used anymore, but I'll figure it out. I got a plan of what we're gonna be doing at this point. I talked to Eliza, who owns the AirStream. We're gonna be putting a nightstand cabinet over there where the solar components will eventually go under the bed into the nightstand. And then this area will become like an L-shaped couch that we're gonna frame out partially for her. This mess of a closet is going to get turned into just a closet and all these wires will be gone. So the next thing on my task is gonna be trying to just slightly frame out this bottom section because then I at least have something to visually look at, figure out where the wires are gonna run. The puppy's still hanging out. We've got wood set up that we can start cutting, and that's where we're at. I've got the first pieces kind of cut here. I can start getting some measurements over. They now got muddy paw prints on them that I'm gonna have to sand out. Thank you, Oakley. The next thing after I get these kind of pieces put in is I wanna move over to this one right here, which I have to scribe to the wall, and then we can get it kind of fit in, and this is where the cabinet's gonna go. That's gonna be 20 inches wide. That's gonna house most of the solar equipment, and then the batteries are gonna end up in this front area and kind of tucked up there, and then she can finish off the couch later. I wanna get these all scribed out and the pieces cut, because then we can sand them, finish them, and then, once it's all actually built, it's gonna be a lot easier to start running wires and stuff, because I'll actually know where I can run them, where I can drill holes, and where I can mount components. So I finished up the cabinet, got it installed over here in the corner. So this part's screwed in. This has like 2 screws in it just to hold it in place, but it's officially mocked up and kind of there. And all Oakley wants to do is play with the tennis ball, non-stop. All day, non-stop. So the next thing that I want to do, because it's going to be really hard to do once I final screw in this cabinet, is install the batteries over here in the corner, get them all wired up, and just have the leads running through the cabinet. So they're just sitting there. They're just going to barely fit. It's like, this is 20 inches. The batteries are 20 inches. This is 19 inches. I think I need 18 and a half. So we got the cabinet mounted, we've got that all squared up, we've got the batteries mounted, we've got the water system put in the corner. Now that everything's mounted, I've done the official pull test. You know you all do it. You have to give it a shake. We got the batteries all kind of pre-wired, so these guys are pretty much done. Goes over to the fuse. We've got our sensors already in, and then I just ran them through the back of the cabinet, and now they're just sitting kind of waiting to go. Or yeah, everything's pretty much done on that part of the list. Pretty much all framed out, so that is of course until we get to this side, and then I've got to quickly get this put together. I literally just started digging into the cabinet, and I think that this drawer has seen better days. Unless this is some like old school plywood that I don't know about. But yeah. There you go. If you wanted to know how plywood was made, that's how it's made, in layers. And over time, they can come apart. But the plan here is going to be taking out this drawer, taking out this, which is also destroyed. And then we'll put a new drawer in, put a new piece in here, and then I already have the piece for this part. Strengthen this up, make that good, and then, you know, just kind of almost leave it original, just kind of clean it up. And then at that point, then I can get the wiring in, because I got to get a plug here for the fridge, and I got to get one over here for the microwave that's down below, and then this side's kind of done and tied up. We're kind of at the build back stage. You know, we've been building back for a while, but you know, it feels good to finally not be doing investigative work, so we're pretty close to being done with demo. Kitchen's back together. It took way longer than I thought it was going to, but I got a new piece of wood and a new drawer in here. So this is all new now, and we got a new piece in on the other side over here. So this side's all good to go now. We've got support beams in here, so this corner, I have to hit it, you know, just to test it, but that's all solid. And then we just put the microwave back in, and Oakley's being cleanup crew eating a stick. Good job. So, next thing on the list is I'm kind of going to go with the theory of just like keep walking myself around the trailer. I've got to get all of these wires figured out and cleaned up and then routed through and over to the panel box. And then this closet I think is going to be the next thing, kind of this whole thing to tackle. I've got to clean up all these wires, and then I'm going to be putting a false face on this to kind of cover all that, so this closet's a little bit more clean and usable. Yesterday I mounted a whole bunch of components, and Liza, who's the owner of the AirStream, spent some time and she actually painted a whole bunch, sanded a whole bunch. She's redoing a bunch of the cabinet doors while I'm doing the solar system. So when I was working in here, she just ripped everything out and she's painting them. I got some of the components mounted, got some things started, still quite a bit of wiring left. What I'm gonna be doing right now is mounting the solar panels up on the roof. She already had two 200-watt flex panels, so we're just gonna remount them up there and run them in. And once I do that, I think I'm gonna move over to the alternator connection on her truck, and then eventually I'll get back in to finish up the rest of the wiring.
Hello, I'm Eliza.
And that's her AirStream. Solar panels are completely racked up. Can't really see them at this point. Pretty much done. Wired up the side, up to a box, down through the closet. And I just finished wiring up the MPPT, the on-off switch, the breaker, the links. That whole thing's completely done. Added a few more pieces of conduit. And the next thing on my list is going to be putting in the inverter and the 30 amp breaker. That's going to be going like right here on this wall. So I got to get this guy mounted up into this section, wired over into the link switches right there. And then for the most part, the system's like 90% done. There's a couple like loose ends, couple loose wires that I have to tie up and clean up. But we are definitely heading out towards the right direction where we can just wire up the AC/DC panel right there and then be on our way. I'm gonna mount the second heaviest part next to the batteries, the inverter, hopefully not drop it. I got one job left on the list. I gotta just put an alternator connection in. Well, not the alternator connection, we already did that. Just gotta connect 2 wires. She's just gonna pull out and we're just gonna kind of check everything over real quick out there in the sun because, well, solar doesn't exactly work inside the shop. And then yeah, we'll finish it all up. So I got the last parts of the alternator connection right here. It's completely done. So I parked the AirStream out here next to my sister's gypsy wagon. Oakley's just hanging out on the inside. We packed up most of the stuff, so the system is pretty much done. And that's where this one's gonna end. Liza's got quite a bit more work to do. She's gotta finish up the couch tops and some other finishings and touch-ups, but the work that we're doing here is done, so I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye, AirStream. If you've enjoyed this video or previous videos on this channel, I just want to let you know about our back-end Patreon community. If you guys didn't know, we've got a Patreon community where we put up BTS footage of different projects such as this AirStream, where we've been posting videos about it over the last 2 weeks. We've also got monthly live streams and then just a cool Discord community of people. So if you guys are interested in joining our back-end community, supporting this channel and furthering projects like this and the content that we bring, feel free to go find out which tier is right for you. And thank you as always to everyone who's already over on the Patreon community and your continued support. You definitely make it possible for us to be able to put out these videos and keep the content rolling.